but this young lady is no stranger to us. But if she is to you, let me give you a little idea. February 22nd, she talked about the huge game, the Hunger Games. On April 5th, she talked about the power of the business, and it requires passion. On April the 12th, she talked about being the CEO for you, and she incited that with a video of TD Jakes. On the 19th, she did another TD Jakes video called Crushing It by TD Jakes. On June the 7th, talk about extra, taking ownership of your life. That's right. You know what I'm talking about. She has a home in Montana, as well as one in the down south in the Bay Area. She also have the beautiful outdoor, I can't wait to get that outdoor pizza oven. She enjoys good kind of wines of different nature. Her husband is a builder, and I wanted her to tell her story. And she was also an entrepreneur in hairdressing, and she saw ACN as a single mom. Without further ado, dear friend, she's a regional vice president platinum in our company. Without further ado, the great, the one and only Miss Jocelyn Driskill.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Good, good.
Good. Great to see you wearing green. That green.
Green.
Money. I was just going to say that. Great minds think alike. Actually, I always say great hearts think alike. So awesome. Well, thank you for that kind introduction. You know, I'm going to start off just by saying how grateful I am for your life and your leadership, because without you, my world would be different. And I know many, if not all, I would say all should say how grateful they are for you as well, because this is such a blessing that we get to have, to be a part of. I don't take one iota of your time, or this event for granted. And so with gratitude, Mr. Thomas, everything you've done in our life, Tony's life, we just are so grateful for you. And there's not enough words to really express. So thank you so much. Thank you for the time here today. Thank you for entrusting me with all these people and their hearts today. So, and happy to be back for August. I'm so grateful for that too. And look at ACN. Do we not have to have gratitude for all they bring to the table? August, holy cow. I don't know if any of you captured one of those slides that I haven't seen in a while. It's fear. Not only are they giving the customer $250 if they can't beat it, they're giving the IBO $250. So you guys, everything that you know, Mr. Lewis was sharing, that is such an extra gift on the table for all of us to take advantage of. All we have to do is take advantage of it. But we also have to start with being grateful for what we do have. That's more importantly, because I think sometimes we take all of this for granted. They don't have to do any of this. So I'm going to just share my story. Some of you are new here and don't know my background. Before I dive into the training here, I'm just going to quickly go over it and why my life is where it is today, because I want to teach all of you how to live well. How many of you want to live well? Like live a well-lived life, right? It's all about living well. But it starts in areas of our life to really maximize the comp plan, the business. There's a lot of work that has to go on inside of you that really wants to attract the right people in our life to come into our world, to go into business with us. It's just like when you own a traditional business, like my husband has since he was 19 years old, has been a general contractor. To be successful as he is today, he's had to become you know, something more than he started with. You know, he has a tremendous business, and we fortunately have had, you know, wonderful success together in business. As Mr. Thomas said earlier, you know, I come from the hairdressing business. I was a single mom 8 of those years, raising my daughter as her dad passed away when she was 5 years old. You know, it's not about what happens to us. It's how we react to it and what we do with it, and know where the source of life and well comes from. And so when I share this with you, you know, back in 2008, you have to understand our life looked amazing. It looked amazing until an economy took a tank. Now, it was amazing and I was grateful for every moment of it. But it did not come easy. It was filled with challenges and obstacles to get there. And I'm not going to go back into both Tony and I's history of what it took to bring us together, then to have a successful business like we did. And then at the end of the day, something that you're great at doing and have created, you know, knowing that God put that in our place, it fell apart because it doesn't matter. We live in a world that's broken. We live in an imperfect world, right? And I will always say I'm perfectly imperfect, because we are. And you bring two imperfect people together in an imperfect world, and what are you going to have? Challenges and obstacles. It's just going to happen. Our company, as perfect as it is not always going to be perfect either. So, but being grateful for where we are. So in the midst of that economy shift, the bottom line is Tony and I lost everything. I don't have to go in all the details. We just lost everything. Everything we had created, the money, the lifestyle we could see flashing before our eyes. Though we worked a lot, because traditional business requires you to work a lot. And we were working two businesses at the same time, but it afforded us to be able to travel, to buy a home in Wyoming, and all those different things, and start our journey on living a well-lived life. And so when I say that, I just, back in 2008, when I share this story, it's to give you hope, because in ACN, I'll tell you, we're hope dealers. This company has given us the opportunity to be a hope dealer, and everybody in this world needs more hope, right? They need more hope. And I can tell you, as you've heard me before, some of you here know that we call ACN our ACN lifeboat. My husband felt like we were the Titanic going down with a ship. And, Leonardo DiCaprio and what is her name? I can't remember her name, but you know what, you can see the picture. They're in the water. How many of you seen Titanic? Okay. If you haven't seen it, you need to watch it. But they're in the water, because you can apply life to this too. They're in the water on a piece of board from the ship, and they're hanging on for dear life. And it's freezing cold, right? That water is freezing cold. And my husband he sees himself as Leonardo DiCaprio, and his arm is just hanging on that. And his girl and his family and his dog are all on the piece of wood, trying to stay out of the cold, but he's still 3/4 of the way in the cold. And what he describes, if you hear his story, he describes praying so hard. And he saw a ship with basically like a lighthouse, a boat coming at him, and a hand, if you can envision it, a hand reaching down and saying, "Let me help you," because he'd been praying for something to get us out of the water. How many of you have been there? Wherever it's been in life, how many of you have been there? I can feel it today, just sharing this story of the place that we were. And you heard me earlier say, it's not what happens to us, it's how we react and how we move forward in our challenge in life. Because every single day of our life, we're creating our story. Everyone has a story inside. And so when I go into moving forward in this conversation and this message, some of the things that we have to start our day, no matter where we are, whether we're in the midst of a storm, or we're coming out of a storm, or we're outside of the storm now, and knowing at some point there's going to be another storm. Can we all agree? There's going to be a storm. What do we have to start with every day, no matter what? Anybody know? Where do we need to start every day, no matter whether it's good, bad, or ugly? Anybody know? Hold on one second. Pulling it up. Gratitude. Gratitude. This message is called Gratitude Addict. Gratitude Addict. Can everybody see the slides? Mr. Thomas, can you tell me for sure that we're good? Or someone, Jabri, who I'm so grateful for, Mr. Jabri. Are you there? Can anybody hear me?
We're good.
Okay, thank you so much. When I hear silence, I'm not quite sure, but that's like silence is good too. Thank you, Jabri. I'm so grateful for you as well. So the good news is your life of living well can be, if you start it and you fill it with gratitude, no matter where you are, your life will change. It is the principle of success. It will combat everything. In fact, I'm going to share something with you right now. I'm going to unstop share for just a second. I did a post in Facebook, and you can go to it, but I'm going to read it to you really quick about gratitude and what I said. You need to begin and end your day no matter what. It will change your world. Gratitude. Begin and end your day with it. No matter what, it will change your world around you. Gratitude will give you more patience, understanding, compassion, and kindness. I hashtagged have courage and be kind. As you guys know, I love that's really important in life. Gratitude is not only the greatest of the virtues, but it is the parent of all others. Let me say that again. Gratitude is not the greatest of the virtues, but it is the parent of all others. Finding gratitude in your everyday life takes consistency. Like anything else, you start your day and end your day with it. And in the middle, keep going, right? You can start and end your day, but there is a middle. So you got to keep going in the middle, and you got to keep being grateful. Peace in your spirit will be your reward, and be the example for your family and the friends, because this world needs more of this. And you've heard me say this before, to shine your light. Let go of all that does not serve your life's purpose, and always remember, do not be like everyone else who conforms to the ways of this world, but decide to transform by renewing of your mind. And many of you know the verses to that. Gratitude, begin your journey now. So that's my message today. It's about gratitude. As many of you who jumped on early heard the song that I chose for this series in August, which is Everything Will Be All Right. Danny Goki and the collaboration he did, that message just spoke to my spirit. It's brand new, out, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago or so. And it's a fantastic song that can feel, I can sing it. I was off camera and I was singing it with them, because it just let it fill your world, and be grateful for where you are. So let's start with this. All righty, here we go. All right, so with that, I'm going to actually play a video. Many of you know this gentleman. His name is Ed Millett. Actually, he's a world-renowned speaker, coach, trainer. He was a football player, professional football player. As you can see, he's very strong. Bodybuilder type guy, works out every day, but his mindset and the place where he starts is phenomenal. He's been speaking to my world this last about 2 weeks. And so I want to share this with you. It's on gratitude. It's only about 3 minutes and 35 seconds, and we'll come right back.
And I had a other person, to my benefit, pointing out to me the things that were great about me. Now, this is going to sound hokey, but I'm going to give you the big one. And this is why life gives you these great tests. I had a really good friend of mine. I went to lunch, and he said, I don't know who this guy is here in front of me. And he goes, let me ask you a question, honestly. Right now, what are you grateful for? And at the lunch, I said, jack shit. Nothing, brother. There's nothing good in my life right now. And I'm not exaggerating this to you when I tell you this, and this is a factual story. As I'm mouthing these words, 2 people walked in with an older man. Both of them clearly were fighting cancer somehow. Both had lost their hair. One of the ladies had a bonnet on, and they were barely moving in. Both walked by our table and gave me the most warm greeting, the warmest smile as a stranger. And he goes, that's pretty freaking pathetic. You can't find anything in your life to be grateful for right now? And on the drive home, I'm not kidding you, I started to stack gratitude. I started to take inventory, because if you can find things to be grateful for in that space, man, is your life going to be rich when there really are external things to be grateful for. So my first mechanism out of that space was honestly to stack the things I was grateful for, and I started reinforcing it over and over and over again. And what happens is there's this reticular activating system in our brains, right? And all of a sudden, because that's the messaging I was giving myself, all of a sudden, all these things start to come into my awareness that I'm grateful for. I start to magnetize to myself some people that I needed to find into my life, and that was the next layer. I started to see things to be grateful for. My health, my fitness, people who loved me. And what it did is it changed my state. When I stacked gratitude, I changed what I did in the morning and I changed what I did in the evening. And so somehow by grabbing control of my morning and by grabbing control of my evening, I got some measure of control over the middle of my day. I was an out of control person back in those days, meaning this: I woke up worried, stressed, fearful, and I immediately start thinking about a bill I had to pay, something that was wrong, and I'm in a state of reaction to begin I'm talking within 6 minutes of waking up, 6 seconds. Most people listening to this, that's what they do. I said, I got to grab control of my morning, and I set up routines in my morning. Maybe they served me, maybe they didn't, but they were things I could deliver on doing for myself. And so not only did that give me control over the day, but I started to stack my self-confidence too.
And what were some of those things that you grabbed onto?
Huge. So, and I'm not pitching this, but I do have audios out on this stuff too that people can go get for free. But
Which, by the way, are amazing.
Thank you, man. Thanks.
No, 100%. And I really hope people dive in. Like, your content is incredible.
Thank you. So was yours, which is why I wanted to find you. And I've for a long time wanted to be in your presence. So my morning routines are really detailed. I get up and I hydrate. The second thing I do every morning is I do something cold. So whether that's I jump in the ocean, because now I live in the ocean, but in those days it was taking a cold shower or splashing some cold water in my face or walking out when it was cold. It shocks our nervous system, our fight or flight kicks in, we're in a cellular, electric alive state. I obviously do some prayer and meditation every single morning. I've still not touched my telephone. So there's a rule, there's 30 minutes I cannot touch my telephone when I wake up. That's the hardest thing to do in the world and the thing that could benefit you the most, because whatever on that phone you have to react to. And typically it's stuff that's not great. And so I don't touch that. I do my meditation and my prayer, and I do some stretching, I do some breathing exercises, and then at that point I allow myself to enter the world after I've got my state controlled. And I work out every morning, except for Sundays. I work out every morning.
There it is, just in 3 minutes, how we react first thing in the morning, what we do. So let's go over a few of his points just so we can write those down, and then I'm going to share some things with you going further. So he talked about his routine, right? Taking control of your day, stacking gratitude. How do you stack gratitude? It's one gratitude thing after another. Wake up being grateful. And he said the same thing I did, which is in the middle of your day. See how many people, like he shared, his friend asked him, what could you be grateful for? And he's like, nothing, right? He's like, nothing. That's not true. You're living. You should wake up grateful for just waking up alive, right? To take on the day. And so he got smacked in his face by a friend, right? A friend just called him on it. Like, you're kidding me. And, he's talked about some people walking in having cancer, and, that's awakening. When you're around people who are fighting for their lives, and there are so many right now, there's so many people around me. You guys can probably know exactly the heartache that you have in your life. I lost a great friend at a celebration of life 2 weeks ago Saturday. She's 50, my age, 55. It really brings life into perspective. She fought hard and she never complained, and she woke up grateful every day for the day that she was given. And she was battling cancer. In fact, her dad passed away 2 months prior of the same cancer, pancreatic cancer. It's unbelievable, right? It's unbelievable. But it happens because, again, we're in a world where there's disease and all those things, and the innocent and the people that do good in the world, they also lose their lives, at young ages. It happens. But still, the stories I hear, I lost a friend, as you guys know, I've talked about before, last October. She died of cancer as well. That C word is awful. My father passed away in 2012 of cancer. It happens. So we have to seize every moment. And it starts in our morning by being grateful for just being alive and starting to stack gratitude. You must become a gratitude addict. I will tell you 100%, it will change your world around you. So he talked about that. So what was his things that he talked about? He talked about hydrating in the morning. That's, getting a glass of water, right? And drinking and hydrating yourself in the morning. He talked about something cold. And if you guys have been on these leaderships, you heard about Mr. Lewis's message about that cold shower at 4:45 in the morning. I did it the first week. I did it the first week. Then I changed it to something cold, like splashing my face with cold water every single morning, because it does work. It really, it kind of just, it like really just ignites your whole body. It's like a shock, right? It's a shock, but it just gets you going. So I'm grateful for Mr. Lewis sharing that. And then he brought it back with Ed Millette, you know, to do something cold. So he talked about that, shocking your nervous system. Also, he talked about prayer and meditation, you know, starting your day. I do this every morning. So he's saying these things and I'm going, yep, that's what I do. So what did the successful do? I'm sure Mr. Thomas has this kind of day. I'm sure Julian Lewis has this kind of day. I'm sure Jabri Clemens has this kind of day. And many of you have started that journey. Maybe you do some of these things, but you don't do all of them. Prayer and meditation just totally gets you in a place of just focus and intention, and it sets your day right. And then stretching and breathing. I did all this morning before I got on here. You don't even have to get up that early and work out. If you just stretched and breathed, took deep breaths. You've heard my message before where it was all about inhale and exhale and just really getting that breath of life going before you go out and try to give other people breath of life, right? Trying to give them wake up their heart attack, right? So you have to start with you. So stretching and breathing and exercise obviously is important, and we're going to talk about that, but it doesn't have to be first thing in the morning, but it should be a part of your week or of your day. As long as you're stretching and breathing every single day, then your workouts in between just need to evolve. And we'll talk about that more. So that was his morning routine. What is your morning routine? You got to eliminate the distractions. And the one thing that he talked about was getting rid of that phone. That phone, I know most of you go to bed with it. Some of you have it right by your ear. You know, I learned many years ago with, especially doing the Insane Productivity with Darren Hardy, about how much time this takes away from people. You know, their phones are sitting next to them and they're just going off. If you're busy, you own a business, it's going to happen. And some of you have to handle that differently and you need to figure that out. But I'm going to tell you, this wastes so much time of your day if it's not scheduled. And if you're seeing notifications continuing to go through your phone while you're talking to people, you're not even listening to people. You're not even paying attention to the moment that you're in. And so this one thing right here, if you could just change this one thing, all of you busy moms, all of you busy people helping other people in your families, your job that's calling you, right? So if you know what time your business starts or your job starts, you got to wake up differently and earlier. You got to start your day earlier. I hear people say, oh, I'm ready to go do this now. And it's like 9, 10 o'clock. Why it didn't start at 6 or 5? That's too late. Those things should be done at 4 or 5 or 6. It's crazy that we're praying and meditating at 9 and 10 in the morning, and that should have happened hours before, right? I wake up, I think I do that all night long, actually. I would find myself waking up saying the Lord's Prayer, which is what I do. But because it's a routine, it's part of me, right? But that will start your day. If I could get this across to anybody, turn your dang notifications off. Figure out how to respond to your business differently and your job and the person who's running your life and your job. Because the moment you start reacting to this, you've lost your day. You've lost control of your day. You've lost the time that it takes to respond to people. You've distracted your brain now. The moment you were totally on something, you're working on something, and then a notification. You just broke the flow. You just broke the mojo in what you were doing. And now you've wasted where it could be a second looking at your phone and reacting to it in the morning. And it takes 2 hours of your day to get back on track. That's a lot. So when people tell me all the time, how do you do all you get done in 24 hours? I can't seem to even function, as much as, because they'll hear, what did you do today? And I'll tell them, and I'm like, they're like, how? Because of what I'm telling you. I feel for myself to let you know, as many ask me, how do you do this? How did you have success when you had 2 businesses, money flowing out the door in 2008, faster than ever? We were bleeding out. We were going to die. That's where we were. That's where we were feeling, right? How do we fit one more thing in like ACN? Because most people think it's going to take as much as a traditional business, and that's not true. It doesn't, because you have the help, you have the system, you have leaderships, you have everything that you can get fed from to build a significant business in ACN, part-time nooks and crannies, but you got to take advantage of it. You got to use it properly. That means starting early. You got to wake up. If you're doing this around the nooks and crannies, you got to get up earlier. You got to put an extra hour or two in your day. So what if you didn't wake up till 7, start at 5:30. So important. Throw that cold water, get in that cold shower, get your body active, and start with gratitude. Start with stretching and breathing, start with praying and meditation, just like he's talking about. So I want to start with that. And then I want to go into, hold on, let's go into this. I have put in my 6, because we're going to create habits here with you guys. Why is that not coming up? Where'd you go? Oh, there it is. There we go.
And I had a.
Okay, so my 6 life-changing habits. There's actually 7, and that was the phone thing. That has to go away. That's the 7th. Okay, so my 6 life-changing habits. You can take a picture of it. Let's go over it a little bit. So practicing gratitude. Take time to give thanks every single day. I pray to God and thank him daily for my life and all the opportunities he has given me and the gifts he has instilled in me. Because every single one of you have gifts and they are not unlocked. We talked about potential. You know, my husband said this to his friend the other day. You have potential, kid Luca, right? Some of you know that what movie that comes from, but it's true. You have gifts, but they're not activated because of all the craziness and the way you start your day, that it can't get activated correctly. And so this is where the malfunction happens. It's like a computer that has malfunctioning, right? It's not rebooted. You got to reboot yourself. And that's what this is all about. So be grateful for all things, not just one thing, all things for life. 2, deep work. Now you heard Jordan Adler talk about this last week. You've heard Mr. Thomas talk about this. You've heard this over and over. And I had already written this slide before Jordan mentioned it. At least 3 to 4 hours of undistracted workday every day. If you're building ACN and you're doing it part-time, you could easily do 3 to 4 hours of undistracted work every day. Tony and I did with 2 businesses and a failing business, a failing economy, losing everything. But it was undistracted. If you're carrying this all the time and you're not using it properly, that word, you're going to be distracted. I'm telling you, it's got to be different for you. If you want to move and finish 2021 at a higher level than you started it, take this advice. Take all the leadership that you're getting here every single day that's being fed to you. But when you're on these, even if you're at work and you can't be on camera, whatever that is, it still needs to interact on the, I do that. I interact on the messaging because I can't always be on camera, even though we want you to show up on camera. I'm just saying, interact so it keeps you undistracted. You're not looking here and looking there. You're listening and focusing, taking notes, responding in the messaging, saying something. Those things are important because it keeps you focused. If you're working from home and you got your computer, it's hard to work and be on this and get the message and actually change. I believe every single person who has a job and works from home can take their mind off of their work for 30 to 45 minutes at 60 minutes, whatever it is that leadership is, and start your day properly and create a habit that is undistracted by anything, work, job, kids, anything. Start there with gratitude. Thank you, Lord, right? 3rd, wake up and go to bed at the same time every day. The best that you can do that, when you have children, getting them on a schedule is important too. So what you do, they're going to do. They're going to learn it from you. So getting them to bed on time, taking their phones out of their hands. Okay. They should not wake up with phones, and they should not end the day with phones in their bed. Don't teach them that. That's just my heart to you. I have 3 grandkids. And I'm like, that phone needs to go out of their hands. You know, a little bit of screen time, because we're already teaching them to be distracted. We got to stop that. It increases your energy levels and builds discipline when you wake up and go to bed in the same time frame every single day. Increases your energy levels and builds discipline. That word discipline needs to be right front and center in your life every single day, because discipline is major to building anything significant. It's got to be disciplined and create the habit that we're talking about here. Number 4 is delayed gratification. There's going to be delayed gratification even in business. You're going to do the work today that you're going to see the rewards down the road. Now, most people are used to instant gratification. I go to work, I get paid an hourly wage. I know I'm going to get a check. I'm trading my time for money, which is fine. And some of us have to do that while we're building this business, and that's okay. All I'm saying, while you're building a significant business like ACN, you have to understand about the delayed gratification. Just like the rewards of raising children. A lot of times you don't see all the everything you've instilled in your kids till they get older. That's a delayed gratification. Sometimes they put you through a lot of hell. But because you stayed consistent and helped and become an example and create habits, not only in your life, but you're the example, you show them that the gratification later on in life, you will see the fruits of your labor in delayed gratification. So too much partying, all these things can get in your way. TV shows, I know people have TV on 24/7. My TV isn't on all day, and I stand here in my kitchen with 2 TVs on either side of me. I never turn them on. I pay for them, which is why it makes sense to make money in that business, right? I don't turn them on. I maybe get this amount of time in a day or not even every day. Because there's just a couple things I like to just kind of go into la la land sometimes, and there's a show or two. I'm sure you all have a show or two you like, but get that TV off. Video games, oh my goodness. Yes, they can teach a lot of different skills, but some people waste so much time and energy on video games. It's crazy. Unhealthy food, it will all ruin your motivation, right? All of it will ruin your motivation. You got to keep moving even while you're breathing. I mean, even if you're at a relaxed state of movement, you got to keep moving. Work hard now and make short-term sacrifices for your long-term goal, and the future life you want and are praying for will just unfold for you. So remember this, write it down, delayed gratification. You've got to do the work today. If you want to be a senior vice president like Mr. Thomas and have the true life freedom in life that you're looking for, with time and money, and to give back and to get, give to different organizations and feed the hungry and set up different things for kids, or whatever it looks like for you. What is it that your freedom and time together looks like for you? That's down there. That's over there. You got to do the work. You got to do deep work, 3 to 4 hours a day. And the longer you wait on changing these habits, the longer the delay of the gratification. Will you get instant gratification if you're building ACN now? Absolutely. You saw the money. There's so much money in instant gratification. It's ridiculous. We didn't have that back in 12 years ago. But you got to go take advantage of it. You got to go make it happen. You got to be intentional. You got to do the action to get the result. You can do an invite, but if you don't actually follow through, where's the result going to come from? So you got to, get yourself centered and remember delayed gratification. Workout. Number 5, I say minimum of 3 times a week. Many of you do 4 to 5 times a week, but if you're breathing and stretching and doing core exercises, strength training, that kind of stuff, which I do, strengthen that core for anybody is so important. So if you're on a health kick and Mr. Lewis can tell you about this, because he has gone through a great transformation. You've heard his story, but I'll tell you, the core is everything. The core of everything you do is everything. Getting that strength in here will change your world. Train your mind every day and your soul. This is what I'm teaching you. When I come to you live here, you're going to hear mind, body, soul always. Now, I am not someone who coaches in the gym or do any of that. I just know what I've been coached. I hire coaches to train me. I've had kickboxing coaches. I've had personal coaches, workout coaches. I hire them. I pay for them. I can do that today because it keeps me on track. It keeps me in a habit because it's not necessarily something that I would be consistent about if I didn't have a coach. Coaches are important in life, in business, for your body, for your spiritual journey. All of that is so important. So you got to start with you first though. So work out minimum 3 times a week, and especially be intentional every morning, 7 days a week, intentional core and strength training. So there's so much on YouTube. You do not have to go pay for it. It's on YouTube. You can find something that gives you 30 minutes of it every single morning before you get your day started. It's so important. Your life will change. If you just go walk for 30 minutes, take a little hill walk for 30 minutes. I don't know, something while you're breathing and taking all of that in, super important to start your day. How you do one thing is how you do everything. Who says that? Anybody know? You guys all know. Mr. Nelson says this all the time, right? Senior Vice President, Mr. Nelson. How you do one thing is how you do everything. If you don't give 100% to your life, mind, body, soul, you're not going to give 100% to your business or to your family or to anything in life. Moms, grandmas, females, there's a lot going on in our life when we have families and all of that stuff, and depending on the time you are in your life, right? Same with males. They have a lot of stress. They're working to keep the roof over our heads if you're married, right? There's single dads, there's single moms, all of us have something. But treat everything with excellence and see how your life will change when you give 100%. Because I want you to know a fact. When you talk about this, how you do one thing is how you do everything. Think about where you fall short in a day, because so many people, I'm going to stop this real quick. So many people show up late. Mr. Thomas talks about this all the time. Stop being late. If you're on time, you're late, right? If you're on time, you're late. If you're late, it's unacceptable. If you're early, you're on time. So the quote starts backwards. I just kind of moved it around a little bit, but I'm just telling you, if you change just that thing. So if you're a person who tends to arrive late, which means if you're on time, you're late. So we start with on time. If that is a consistent thing you do, and I can tell you, if you do it here, you do it in other places of your life. Just change that this week. Just change that. Show up early, at least 5 minutes early. Gosh, there's people on here show up 30 minutes early. It's crazy. It's awesome, right? But how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you can just change one thing, that would shift your course. So think about what that one thing is and write it down, because if you don't write it down, you can't see it. You can't see the target. You can't see how to fix it. And if you don't write it down, you're not accepting that you have that issue. So write it down and then start working on that every single day, that you're going to be aware. When you're aware of something that you're not that's impacting your whole day, and until you realize it and you're aware of it and you can actually do something about it. So that's one of the things I wanted to share with you, is focusing on what one thing can you change this week, moving into your rest of the 6 months or whatever's left in 2021 that you can change. And I would say every month, add one more thing that you can fix, because we all have multiple things. We're all human. We all have habits that aren't good for creating success in our future. Okay. So let me go back to this. Hold on one second. So let's execute with excellence. There's your beach money look. How many of you want to be sitting on that? on that swing, like Jordan Adler talks about, and having the type of beach money that ACN can give you with that serene, just that picture just is so serene, gives you the peace that of, I want to be there, right? I want to be there. Well, how do you get there? You have the tool and the gift of ACN in your hand, right? But you got to start with becoming a gratitude addict. It's your life source. It's how you will flow. I give a lot of the accountability and leaders that I work with on a weekly, daily basis is look at yourself as water flowing through. You want to, whether a wall comes, you can seep through that wall, whether, you know, whatever obstacle it looks like, it's a big old boulder. Well, you're water, you can flow around it. You got to be able to maneuver your life. And if you start as I'm talking here, and again, you've heard multiple people talk about this, but I really wanted to focus on how to really get fluidity in your life and to become that gratitude addict that creates the true life source of living well, no matter where you are today in your life. So every single one of you, I'm going to show the next, let's see, hold on. So what are you grateful for? What are you grateful for? I know something automatically will come to your head. I want you to write it down. And then write 2 more things today that you're grateful for. So you have 3 total, what I'm grateful for. And then every single day with your prayer meditation and the routine and the habits that you're creating, stretching and breathing and splashing cold water, taking a cold hot shower, prayer meditation, you know, making sure that phone is not near you at any case, at any point, that it distracts you from your first 30 minutes to 45 minutes that you're starting your day. So start here, wake up and focus and pray over what you're grateful for. And then put those 3 things down, do it every single day, pray over them, say, thank you, God, for just even getting me out of bed, right? But do that for 30 days. Change one habit that is like the distractions that are distracting you, change one of those for 30 days, at least one. You could do more. If you're a high achiever, do more than one, because it just will not delay your gratification as far as it would if you just do one, okay? And then your 3 things you're grateful for every single day for 30 days. If you can, add one every day or a new one every week. You can again extend, you can blow this up, and you can multiply your efforts by adding one more every single day, one more every single week, whatever it looks like for you, but do it consistently for 30 days. Then you will have the butterfly effect. The butterfly effect in my world is like who you're going to attract and who you're going to impact in this world to help them do the same thing. Because we're called to the world, right? As kingdom entrepreneurs in my life, and I know Mr. Thomas is the same way, and there's many of you on here. Your goal is to do all that you do as a kingdom entrepreneur. This is how I look at myself. So I'm talking from my perspective, my heart to yours. However you see it can be however you see it. But if you can look at my world and my perspective, to be that butterfly effect means that you will impact a life that you will probably never know that will have changed. What if you were the person that, I don't know, said something to someone that created this whole new vision and world for them? Like we can do that in ACN, right? But that person then goes and impacts another person in another country. And for generations, because that person was changed because of something you did here, you have changed generations. And as a kingdom entrepreneur, that is doing it all for God's glory. And we can do that as a kingdom entrepreneur in business. We can change how the business mountain of influence, the business world looks, because we have a different mindset, and we're doing mind, body, soul. We're working on all of them. And we're being an example, and we're attracting the right people to us. And he knows, he brings them. So let me just give you a look into this. Some of you have seen this picture. I've shared it before, but I'm going to remind you and those who are new. That is not a superimposed blue butterfly on my finger. That is a real blue butterfly. I had been dreaming and seeing in my vision blue butterflies. And almost every movie I like to watch, even the new Cinderella, has blue butterflies as fairy godmother is creating that new dress on her. There's blue butterflies flying around. There's, if any of you have seen The Shack, which is, I recommend that movie. It's an amazing movie. It's sad. There's a lot of trauma in the beginning, but it's if you let it open you up, it's an amazing movie. Even on the inside of a casket, there were blue butterflies. So anything I see, he always shows me all this stuff. And so when I share with you right now, is this picture was taken in Colombia. I have never seen a personal blue butterfly in my life except in a movie or in an image or in my mind. And I went on a tour because of ACN to Colombia. I had already been on 3 tours to Mexico. And this, I think, was my second tour in Colombia. And God had just been putting so much in my world and in my space. So the song you heard this morning had Spanish in it, right? I totally feel so connected to that world. I feel like I'm at home no matter where I go. I never have any fear. People are always like, you're flying by yourself? No, I'm grateful for this opportunity. God has opened this door as a woman to go into Mexico and tour and to have this business to share and impact lives. I'll guarantee you one person was impacted because I was in Mexico, because Mr. Thomas was in Mexico, because it just goes on and on. So then Colombia opens up, and we get a team from someone who knew someone in Colombia. Not because I knew them, but because Mr. Irving Herrera, top producing regional director, who's running our Latin America expansion along with those top leaders, he was my traveling partner and my interpreter and all that stuff. And we just had a blast. Life was so amazing to be able to go over there and impact lives. But he knew someone there. He didn't know him. It was a cold peak, and that turned into Colombia. You guys, you just got to talk to people. So then that took us to Colombia, and on this tour, actually it was our Uber driver, but he got in the business as well. And he took us, he's like, I'm going to take you to this aviary in Colombia. And it was in Cali, Colombia. I'd already been like in 3 cities, Bogota and a couple other cities. And we've been to big events that we're doing over there. I stood on stages and someone interpreted for me. It's crazy. If I can do this, if I could be there, so can you. Yes, I'm special, but so are you special. Just stop thinking that you're not and that you can't, but you're not that person. Yes, you can. Sí se puede. Yes, you can. And so I'm telling you, he took us to the top of that. It was at a mall, of all places. It was at a mall in Cali, Colombia. Get to the top of there, and there's the aviary. Of all places, an aviary on top of a mall. There's a door. I'm actually right by that door. It's behind me. I walk into that door, and guess what comes alive? Those blue butterflies. All of a sudden, I have blue butterflies flying all around me. It is such a surreal time in my moment in time for me. I can't even express it. But what happened is that blue butterfly flew right down on the ground there, right by my foot. And what I did is I took my finger and I went down and I put it down because I had this urge to hold it. How do you hold a butterfly, right? How do you get him to climb on your finger? I don't know, but God does, right? And I put my finger down and he gets on my finger. He does not fly away. And Irving is behind me and I'm pulling up my finger to my face like that. Now, those blue butterflies They do not look blue until they open up. They are chocolate brown. They have little spots on. So when you see them, just sitting in place, they're chocolate brown. When they open up, that's what they look like. So he was able to capture that blue butterfly on my finger in the moment he opened up his wings, and he stayed there. So that, I just give you that picture to understand everything I'm telling you started from gratitude. And in that moment, that being so grateful and overwhelmed by, in my world, what the Spirit did in my life at that moment to show me, I call it God winks, things that happen to you. You're like, oh yeah, thanks God. That was my wink. Just knowing that your journey is your journey. And if you can start it with gratitude, create those daily habits, and continue to remember that delayed gratification is coming. You can have the now, but you're going to have this huge delayed gratification. Keep walking, keep learning, keep becoming, and you will have that butterfly effect that people are waiting for you. I'm telling you, every single one of you, Catherine, Bill, Sam, Pat, Daryl, Kenny, Caroline, Juanita, Bill, Bailey, who's always on before Bill Howard now. You guys are funny. It's so funny. Stephanie, Freddie, Belinda Batiste, Edmund, Tammy, Queen, Kylie, is it Kylene? Eileen? Yeah. All of you, and so many more of you that are on here. You are the difference maker. You need to be grateful for where you are, and then grateful for where he's taking you. Do that every single day, you guys, and your world will change. I promise you. Create habits, daily routines, and be grateful. The moment you put that foot on the ground, start being grateful. So with that, Mr. Thomas, I'm going to turn it back to you.